For calamitous clod, multiplication is not supposed to be easy. So as always, calamitous clod is going to make it difficult. But we're up for the challenge. So the first thing that you're going to need to do, the first set of examples, give you numbers or factors that we're going to multiply by, and we're actually going to rearrange them to make our multiplication a lot easier and a lot faster. First thing that we want to do is, now that you've watched the video on the associative property, you know that associative properties tell us that we can group differently. We're also going to rearrange using the commutative property, meaning that we are going to reorder. The first thing we want to do is, instead of doing 2 times 2 times 2 and then multiplying by 3 5s, let's take a 2 and a 5. 2 times 5, we know the answer to that. That's 10. I'll take the second 2 and the second 5 and do the same thing. And now I have another pair of 2 times 5s. Notice how I use the parentheses to show what I'm grouping. Last, let's group the final 2 and 5 together. And we get another, in parentheses, another set of 2 by 5, which is also 10. And now I can go ahead and add in my multiplication symbols. All I'm doing here is I've regrouped this so that I can do 10 times 10 times 10, which is pretty easy. 1 times 1 times 1 is just going to be 1, and then I add 3 zeros on that would give me 1,000. But Calamitous Cloud is not done with his tricks. He's not going to trick us for long though. Starting with question 108, so questions 108 to 113, notice how we have parentheses that show us the grouping. Now here we're not going to change the grouping. We're going to leave the parentheses alone. We're not going to reorder any numbers either. What he wants us to do here, because he's such a tricky guy, he has left out our addition and multiplication symbols. So we've got to add them in, and we already know what these things should be equal to. I'll give you a hint. In math, usually when there are parentheses, it usually is because we want to do that operation first, whatever it happens to be. And here it's either going to be addition or multiplication. So I have 7. 7, I know I'm not going to multiply by anything to get 25 because 7 is just not a multiple. Or rather, 25 is not a multiple of 7. So I know I'm probably going to need to add here. But before I go ahead and put that addition sign in, let me make sure I know what I'm doing. What could I add to 7 to get 25? Oh, well, that's the same thing as subtracting. 25 minus 7 should be 18 if I've done that math properly. So that box in the parentheses has got to be a multiplication symbol. 2 times 9 would give me 18. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my plus symbol in here. So 7 plus the product of 2 times 9, that would be 7 plus 18. That's going to be equal to 25. Now remember, before you put in any symbols, Calamitous Clod has tried to trick you the best way he can. The best thing you can do is remember that whenever you see numbers inside parentheses, it means we do them first. So every other example on this page, think about it. What will happen if I add or multiply those numbers into parentheses? And they don't have to come first. Like in this example, the 2 and the 9 are in that parentheses, but they didn't come first. The 7 came first. So it's not that I'm changing the order. I'm just going to do that operation first. And we do know in these examples that we're only going to need addition symbols or multiplication symbols. So make sure you do this carefully and then obviously check your work. Once you put your symbols in, does it make sense?